Our gracious Majesty the Queen really quit, but what? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Thank you for joining me today. Nice to have your company as ever. And we like to sort of focus on stories that have been put out there by the mainstream media, and then we like to do a bit of delving in and find out the real story, the story behind the story. First off though, I must thank you all for your very kind comments about one of my favourite videos recently, that of London's smallest police station. I know, amazing wasn't it? You know, when you look at it and think, wow, all that history that went on right slap bang in the very heart of London, as we like to say. And as I say, if you do come over to London, we're going to try and get a little bit more of those films in and show you some ways of saving money when you get over here. I love there was a comment also about, you know, it's the accommodation. I don't know where I'm going to stay. There's my problem, trust me. You know, living in London is very expensive accommodation wise, trust me. Wherever you are in the capital, unless of course you're a multi-millionaire, we all can dream, can't we? You know the lottery, right? Well, if you do, remember, one of those numbers belongs to me, and if you're up, I'm coming for the money. Back as ever to your breaking ball story of the day. This story centres on the fact that, of course, Her Majesty the Queen has been spotted, thankfully, once again going to visit her horses while she's taking a well-earned rest up at Sandringham. She's staying, as we know, at Wood Farm, the former home of her late husband, the Duke of Edinburgh. Lots of special memories there, lots of special times. Interesting to note as well that a lot of people are saying we're not seeing enough of her. Well, you know, of course we'd always like to see more of Her Majesty the Queen, but you know, everybody's entitled to a holiday. But this particular story centres on the fact that there was a story earlier this year claiming that Her Gracious Majesty the Queen had quit Buckingham Palace, wouldn't be returning at all ever again. You know, that was it. And as we know, Buckingham Palace is the central focal point for everything to do with royal life. It all centres on that balcony, let's not forget. What we can tell you is this, first and exclusive on the show. There are plans for Her Majesty the Queen to return to Buckingham Palace. And let me explain the reasons behind that. As we know, we're already gearing up and ready to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee for a very special and big weekend over June. Hopefully the weather won't be like this. Looks nice on camera, but drizzly and miserable, let me tell you. So the idea, of course, is that Our Gracious Majesty the Queen would take to the balcony to wave and see all of her wonderful subjects, and as I like to call them, devotees, fans, people who absolutely adore the royal monarchy, the British monarchy. You know, it's our way of life. And that really would be the icing on the cake. That's what everybody really wants, including, of course, the media. It's the money shot. But what's interesting to note is this. I've now been told, and as ever we have to say allegedly, but I've been told in very good form that Her Majesty the Queen could be returning for a couple of nights at least to Buckingham Palace ahead of that very special weekend. And this is simply because, of course, of travelling, how busy London will be. Imagine trying to get back 25 miles plus from Windsor, even if you're driving comfortably. And it would make perfect sense at the monarch's age to be rested, comforted, and in a place that she knows incredibly well. That way there will be no strain or, of course, stress upon her appearing on her very special day, the 70th year on the throne. So for those people that said no, she's not coming back, what we do hope, and what we are hopefully planning for, is a return to royal life, as it were, at Buckingham Palace. And also, just to top it off, I've been told by the people, very senior people who are working inside Buckingham Palace, which I'm told the refurbishment should be fully completed around about the middle of 2026. It's certainly not going to be sold off. It's certainly not going to be a museum. It will be returning back to a fully functioning royal palace, hosting world leaders and so much more from around the world. But as ever, great news about our glorious monarch. I'm sure you'll all agree. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.